Hey there summoners, I am Disciple and welcome to my comprehensive preview for patch 3.8 deploying later this week. We have some pretty big changes to Ashe, Kha'Zix, Sejuani, the jungle, and more. Starting things off, we have some anti-buffs to increase her presence in late game teamfights, which involves increasing the health on Tibbers at ranks 2 and 3, decreasing the mana cost on her ultimate to an even 100 across the board, and giving Tibbers a slight buff to MR. Up next, we have a rework on Ashe's passive Focus, which will now grant focus stacks for seconds that she's not attacking, starting at her base critical strike chance and guaranteeing a critical strike once she reaches 100 stacks. This should give her a more consistent early and mid game instead of giving her that one piece of poke at level 1. On some Hecarim changes, Riot has removed the impact damage from his ultimate ability Onslaught of Shadows and moved that damage to the Shockwave. They've also buffed his E ability Devastating Charge, now allowing him to jump over small terrain such as the ramps near mid lane or thin walls in the jungle. Karma is getting some buffs this patch, with her Q Inner Flame having a reduced mana cost and an increased explosion radius to improve her presence in lane, as well as her Focused Resolves Mantra bonus, granting an instant heal at both the beginning and the end of the channel instead of a heal over time. We have Kha'Zix changes this patch to make some of his evolutions slightly more desirable. His evolved Void Spikes will no longer apply as passive on hit, and instead this ability now has a base slow as well as a decreased mana cost and an increased AD ratio. His Q ability, Taste Their Fear, when evolved will now deal a percentage of the target's maximum health whether or not they're isolated. However, this damage will be increased when the target is isolated. Finally, his evolved ultimate, Void Assault, now has an increased reduction on damage. Lissandra getting some changes this patch to decrease her front-loaded damage and increase her crowd control. Her W, Ring of Frost, now boasts a decreased cooldown and mana cost, while her ultimate ability, Frozen Tomb, got a nerf to its damage, but got an increase on both the slow and the duration when self-cast. We have a nerf to Nautilus this patch to prevent him from snowballing quite so hard, with the damage on his Titan's Wrath ability increased at rank 1, but decreased at ranks 3, 4, and 5. We also have some Sejuani nerfs this patch intended to bring her in line with other tanks. The bonus HP ratio on her W, Northern Winds, has been decreased from 16% down to 10%. The duration on the slow on her E, Permafrost, has been decreased by 0.5 seconds across the board, and the duration on the slow and stun on her ultimate ability, Glacial Prison, has been reduced by 0.25 seconds. Sona is getting some changes this patch, with an increased base health and armor, a decreased early game burst from her power chord, and a bug fix on her Arya Perseverance's power chord Diminuendo, where it wasn't actually decreasing the damage dealt by champions. Ultimately, she'll see a stronger early game durability, but have less early game burst and less durability in the late game. That's it for the major champion changes this patch. We also have quite a few item changes intended to give laners more options when they first start the game, as well as make jungling items more viable for junglers. Boots of Speed have had their cost reduced by 25 gold, allowing for some more item combinations at the start of the game. Doran's Ring and Doran's Shield are also both a little bit cheaper. The bonus magic damage on Madra's Razors and Wriggle's Lantern is now called Maim and does a consistent amount of damage on attack instead of a random chance to do a large burst of magic damage to a monster. Wriggle's Lantern also has decreased armor, increased attack damage, increased lifesteal, and a 90-second ward instead of a 180-second ward, allowing for some more opportunities while counter jungling. The unique passive on the Spirit Items Butcher has been increased from a 25% damage bonus to 30% to make them better for junglers, while the attack damage on Spirit of the Elder Lizard and ability power on Spirit of the Spectral Wraith have both been decreased by 10 to make them less viable for laners. For our final major item change this patch, Malady has been removed from the game and its unique passives are moving to 2 other items. Gnasher's Tooth will now have ability power on hit, as well as having slightly reduced ability power and a slightly higher recipe cost. Wit's End will now have the magic resistant Shred that Malady once had, as well as having slightly more attack speed and a higher recipe cost. That's it for the Disciple Games comprehensive patch preview. If you'd like to see some of the reasoning behind these changes, head over to the official patch preview over on Riot Games' YouTube channel. If you'd like to see some of the changes that I did not address in this video, such as bug fixes or changes to other maps, head over to the patch notes linked in the description. Subscribe for more LOL updates, league news, and LoL gameplay. I am Disciple and have a great day.